Okay, so good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Center for Generational Leaders, weekly seminars on Leaders Connect. And today our topic for discussion is effective use of the internet. That is combating this misinformation as a way to ensure that we consume the right information out there. Information, just like food, when you don't consume the right quality of food, you don't consume the right amount of food, definitely is going to what? It's going to disturb you. It's not only food that get poisoned, information too can get poisoned. It's not only food that contains harmful substances. Some information contain harmful substances, either to you, the person yourself, or to the device on which you are receiving those messages. So it's important that as we know how to avoid certain foods, I mean, when you see a food that is about going bad, sometimes you see bubbles coming up, or when you use your hand to touch it, it's either slimy, slippery combination, molds have grown on it and all that. We are able to do that because over the years, we have developed the capacity to be able to determine which food is good from which food is bad. That is why we're able to do so. So it is the Center for Generational Leaders and my panelists hope for today that by the time that we will finish this webinar, people would be able to look at information on face value and know that this information is not safe for consumption, and therefore not consume it themselves. And not only would they not consume it themselves, but they would They will take steps to prevent others from not consuming it. That is, not sharing it with others, or when you see someone share it, you alert the prospective consumers that this message has expired, this message is poisonous, this message is contaminated, and therefore not good for your health or not good for the health of your machine. Hence, avoid it. Simple terms, that is what we are seeking to do today. And for sake of time, I will want to go straight to my panelists and then call them to introduce themselves properly. But from the flyer we have today, we have Joseph Adasogo, a master's student, and also Ayebila Avoka, also a master's student, both of whom have their backgrounds or trainings in information technology. And we think that it's right that we bring people who have the foundation to help us understand these issues at the basic and non-technical levels so that it will be convenient for us. So on that note, I call on Ayebila to introduce yourself. Beyond your name we are seeing on the screen, let our audience know who you are, what you do, and what you are bringing on board this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Vasco Ayeri Avoka. So like you rightly mentioned, my name is Ayebila Avoka, and I'm an MSc Data Science, Technology and Innovation student at the University of Edinburgh. I know this introduction caused a lot of confusion back home because many people know me to be in Ghana here. So how come that I'm a student at the University of Edinburgh? So let me clarify that even before I say anything else. I am doing an online master's, and it's one of the beautiful things that technology has done for us, and that's why we want to share. So I sit in Ghana, but I'm doing my master's with the University of Edinburgh, and it's fully online. So I'm not in the UK. Those who think I'm in the UK, no, I'm not in the UK. I'm here with you in Ghana, and we enjoy the heat together. So that said, I had my bachelor's education at Ashesi University, one small private university in Ghana, and I did computer engineering. And I currently work with them as a project officer. Prior to that, I worked as a research assistant and a teaching assistant. So I have some experience, not working experience per se in the tech field, but my educational background is in the tech field. So I did computer engineering for my BSc, and now I'm doing data science, technology, and innovation for my master's. And I'm a technology enthusiast, always wanting to share, what I know with other people. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ayebila. And for clarity purposes, Ayebila is my brother, and I'm disclosing that, and I'm bringing him to the panel not because he's my brother, but because, in fact, the topic was conceived by him due to the growing prevalence of messages that are very fishy and poisonous to our systems, that he conceived that we should do something like that. And that's the reason why he's on the panel. It's not because he's my brother, and any other person can be on my panel next week. And by that, I'm calling that if you're on this panel and you want us to hold any discussion of an area that you think is dear to you, or you have both the training or working experience in it, please feel free and then reach out to me after this meeting, and then we can do that. I will leave my number in the chat box so that you can do that. Most of you here do have my phone numbers already, so kindly feel free to do that, and then let's keep the show going. All right, Joe, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Well, my name is Joseph Adatsongo, currently studying Masters in Informatics at Emporia State University here in the United States. I had my bachelor's from UCC, the best university in West Africa, of course. And over there, I studied economics. So I had my bachelor in economics. So along the line, maybe somebody will be wondering, how come you diverted all at a sudden? Along the line, I felt I am developing good and so much intense interest in technology. So I decided to get diverted into technology with my master's. And that is really, really fantastic. So right now I'm concentrating on data analytics, software, and cybersecurity, which are also more important in our days. And currently doing my internship with one of the growing and most ranking IT institution in the United States. We get TS for you over here, and that is the company I'm working with right now. So basically that is me. Well, from those of you who probably might not know where I'm coming from Yelowoko. I had my basic education at the primary school and the JSS in Yelowoko there. Then I moved to the village senior high to get my high school education. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Joe. But let me put on record, please, UCC is not the best university in West Africa. I don't want us to start this debate.
Don't worry, next time we'll look at that.
Yes, at the next time we'll look at that. But as far as I'm concerned, UCC is the best school in Ghana, in the world, and in Africa.
Okay.
All right, so thank you, panelists, and thank you just for the opportunity to be with you this evening on this important discussion. And as I stated earlier, these participants were chosen based on either their work experience or their training background. And from the introduction, it's clear that these are people that, in fact, have the foundation to be able to do justice to the topic under consideration. So on that note, I know we are talking about effective use of the internet. Most of us here probably have done some academic work some way or somehow on what the internet is and all those kind of stuff. But as introduction or preliminary to the discussion, I would like just to tell us what the internet is. When we say internet, what are we talking about? Or in a layman's view, let's assume that this is the first time I happen to be joining this call. How do you explain what the internet is to me? Any of you can feel free to go first. Thank you.
Joe, do you want to take it first?
You can speak, I'll follow.
Jacob, thank you. But this time we are not taking questions from the audience. We've just started the discussion. So please hold your questions and we'll take them at the right time. Otherwise, you can type it to me in the chat box. Thank you.
Okay. Can I go ahead?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
All right. So thank you. I think when we say the internet doesn't need any introduction because we are all here thanks to the internet. So if you find yourself on this call, I believe that you know what the internet is. Probably, I know conferencing tools existed probably prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, but they became widespread when COVID struck. And it is possible because of the internet. So the internet is something that we all know, but in simple terms, if you put, let's say, when we say a network, we have networks of different things. So the internet is a network of computers. And so if in your house, you have 3 or 4 computers and you decide that I'm going to link them together using cables, they are network cables, so we call them internet cables. So you pick the cables, connect this computer to the other computer and to the other computer for the purpose of being able to share information. Then that is a network. So in your house, you have your network. In your neighbor's house, they have their network. In the other house, they have their network. They are all sitting in silos. Now, if you want to talk to your neighbors, someone in your neighbor's network or someone in the other neighbor's network, how do you do that? So the internet is nothing but physical infrastructure, network cables. When I say network cables, you can think of fiber cables, fiber optic cables, LAN cables, and all of that are being laid. You don't see them like how power cables are hanging all over around us in Ghana, but fiber cable, you mostly see them buried around on the ground, connecting different, networking equipment globally. So there are cables running underground in water and all of that. That's making the internet possible. That's in the technical terms. So the internet is nothing but a connection of many networks. So many networks somewhere in the UK, networks somewhere in Ghana, elsewhere, they're all connected for the purpose of being able to share information. And so it's like a highway, just like the road network, maybe the telecommunications network, the radio network, or anything else you can find of.
All right, thank you very much. Joe, do you want to take over?
Yeah, so I have a couple of stuff to add to that. So basically, Ayabile spoke.
Does that sound?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Joe, I can hear you. Yeah, Ayabile, we've heard you. That sounds clear. I think you have problem with your network. So Joe, please go ahead.
Okay, so I was saying that based on the explanation Ayabile gave, that is more academic, and I mean, that is really exactly how you should explain it when it comes to academic. On the other side, the internet is something like a dynamic and a constant platform that has transformed the way we live. And in our days, it is not necessarily just the computers, but even the mobile devices and all other devices that we can think of are all connected and then able to link people all over the world through the internet. But like he said, basically, it is the interconnection of all these cables, the devices, the computers that make the system run and connect everyone around the world.
All right, thank you so much. Are you still talking, or you've ended, Joe?
Oh, that's okay.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for that. So basically, I usually see the internet as a layman terms, like a community. If you have attended a community debate before, you've attended a market before, you know what the internet is. As I explained, you need a number of networks to bring them together, to interconnect them with whatever means, cable, wireless, or whatever, that makes it up. When you go to the market, you have people who have various goods they want to sell. If the person has something to sell and they don't bring it to the market, you probably is not going to find it. And when they bring everything together and now come together to meet at one place, that is where we call it a market. Otherwise, if you come to my house to come and buy rice from me, you can't call it a market because you came to my house to come and buy. That is definitely my house. But when all of us, those who want to sell, bring product to a common place for the purposes of those who want to buy, then it forms a market. It's the same thing with the internet. Nothing but, if you like, a conceptual platform that we know this place exists for people who want information versus people who have access to information and they're willing to say. That is what I mean. The internet is basically about, and that is what we're trying to see how, when you go to the market, what are the things that you should look out for when you want to shop something or when you want to buy anything. And Joe, I'll start with you. Is it true that everything can be found on the internet? If this is yes, why? If this is no, why? Thank you.
Okay. It is not true. So it is not necessarily true that everything can be found. Can be found on the internet. And we have to understand that even though we have a lot of information out there on the internet, it is not everything that we can find out there. There are some information that will not be available on the internet because maybe they've not been uploaded on the internet. And there may also be certain information that are restricted due to privacy or security concern. So, and we can, if we are talking about some of this information, we are talking about information like government documents and maybe military documents, and even some key organizational documents that they feel it is not good to give it out to the public or put it on the internet for everyone to access it. Or again, there could be information on the internet, but just for a certain number of people or a certain group of people to access it, but not for everyone. And so we can't totally say or completely confirm that everything is on the internet, because there are really, really important documents that are not allowed to be put on the internet for whatever purpose that they may cause or whatever harm that they may cause to people. So I can give you an example, like government documents, like unclassified documents. These are key documents that you will not see any government wanting them to be online, because they know for sure that there are relevant information inside those documents. And if everyone gets access to it, their government or country might be in danger. So there are even organizations, universities, can talk about businesses, you can talk about companies. There are key informations that they will never want to put on the internet. So like in the manufacturing sector, we have what we call the black spot or the blackboard, the secret of whatever is making the company grow and making the company stand out as the best. And none of the companies, or no CEO or manager or executive director would want some of these information to be out there on the internet for people to have. Probably you might have a sample of how the document looks like, maybe to help people learn and draft similar documents, but to get certain key information on the internet, it is not everything you can find out there.
All right, thank you so much. I'm going to pose the same question to Ayebila, but I'm going to rephrase it. I think from Joseph's point of view, he's talking about security issues, if you like, security in terms of governments, intellectual property in terms of businesses and organizations, that they may not want to share certain information available. And so no matter how you search, it will not be possible for you to find out those information about those governments or companies online. And it's very true. No government is ever willing to put their national security plan online, no matter what you do. Not even online, even if you work in that office and you are not supposed to work on that document, you will not have access to it. So it's very important. But now I'm going to put it in the other way for Ayebila. So in this case that Joe spoke about governments and businesses, what do you think about information about other people? So what informations of people that do you think that is available online should be available online, or what amount of us, of ourselves, should we put online, particularly in this age of a very volatile social media?
Okay, thank you. So I think it's difficult to say what is not on the internet. Like, it was very difficult to see what is not on the internet, because right now people have health trackers, or even your mobile phone that you use collect certain information about you. A typical one being where you are currently located. You want to do something and your phone is asking you that you must turn on your device location. And so that information that's being collected, I can tell that, okay, or somebody sitting somewhere in the United States know that, okay, Vasco is sitting somewhere in Zebila, and they know something about you. So something about your health, how you sleep, whatever, in fact, all the activities you do in a day. They get to monitor your movement. At what point are you not using your phone? At what point are you using your phone? Your health information, your heartbeat rate, and all of that. And it gets forwarded to servers sitting somewhere. The people have access to it. And so it's very hard to say that, okay, this portion of our life is not on the internet, maybe except the ones like, if you take a nude picture of yourself and put it there, it will be there. And there's a saying that the internet never forgets. So even if you make a mistake and upload your nude picture there, don't think that, oh, I've removed it. How about if you upload it and then within a second someone downloads it? It stays with that person. That person can put it back and you don't have control anymore. So there's so much about us that is on the internet, even more than we think we know, because of the devices we use and the interactions we have with people. And in certain countries, they have surveillance equipment, like cameras monitoring you whilst you move around. And so it's very difficult to even pinpoint that this part of our life is not on the internet. And these days, criminals can basically just track someone and know what you do, and they can make a very good profile of you, and they can target you because of what they know about you through the activities you do on the internet and all of that across different platforms. So I wouldn't necessarily say that there's a part of us that's not on the internet. I think the only part that's not on the internet is someone who is not connected to the internet at all. You live in a remote area, you have no access to the internet, you have no smart device to connect you to the internet. And so therefore, there is no way that the internet will know about you, or nobody has put your information online. That's the only thing that will not exist on the internet.
Wow, that's interesting and scary at the same time. So given that you have painted this picture of scary nature about the internet, and for me, it's scary because to know that there's possibility that part of my information is online, or possibly someone who doesn't even know me is able to know that this is where I'm located at this moment. Are there any ways we can reduce our risk of being vulnerable to the internet or being vulnerable on the internet?
Okay, so I'll take that, and Joseph can come in. So the ways, there are certain things that, of course, you might want to use Google Maps, and Google Maps is saying that you must turn on your location. So there's nothing you can do about it unless you don't want to use the service. If you don't want to use it, then you can turn off your location, and they practically won't be able to, know where you are. The phone has sensors. So the different sensors, if you can turn them off, if you go into the apps, every app on your phone has permissions that they do take from you. So some of them, they come pre-installed, and they have default settings that allows them to access your camera, access your location, access different information about you. Some of them too, you have to turn them on. So people do not know. So if you take your phone, most of the apps, you are installing a new app or it's there already, you can check the permission settings and turn off what you don't want that particular app to have access to. So your microphone, that means you'll be able to listen to your conversation, your camera, which means it probably will be able to take a picture of you or see what you're doing, and then your location. These things are critical. So you can restrict apps from getting access to these things, which means they cannot collect certain information about you all by themselves. And the same way, you visit a particular website, and then they are asking you, okay, you must turn on your location, or let us know where you are before you can use it. So you can simply say no to that request and then move on. Beyond all of these things, everyone that joins social media for the first time, they're always excited that, oh, I can put my picture there finally. I can pick a picture of my family members, everybody, and just upload them onto the internet. I can let people know my pet name. I can let people know where I live and all of that. Every travel I do, I have to update my Facebook profile so that people will know that, yeah, I've arrived. You have control. You can decide not to put these informations out there because you are simply just putting your life out there on the internet, and it becomes very easy for someone to rebuild your life. The simple and short answer is that, or don't update your real-time, location. I'm at this hotel today. I'm at that hotel this morning, and all of that. This is my daughter's name. This is my son's name, and all that. If you don't do that, people won't have it. If you do it, people will have it, and they can track you in a way. Yeah, Vasco, over to you.
All right, thank you. Joe, do you want to add something? How do we reduce our risk of being so noticeable and vulnerable on the internet?
Okay, so I think Ayabile spoke a lot on that, but few things I want to add is we should also be careful with some of the personal details we put on social media and all that. And if you have, okay, let me mention some of them. Maybe your birth date, your phone number, these are key information that you can, even if you want, the system requires that. I know some of them, when you are signing up, they require you provide those things. But after you sign up, you can then sign in and make sure that you hide them. Let all those notifications be hidden so that nobody sees them. Probably if you think if you are someone that you feel people will be contacting you, you can leave your email. But something that has to do with your phone number and your date of birth and other stuff, let them be hidden. It reduces the vulnerability. It reduces the risk that probably that would await you, whether on Facebook or whichever. And you've noticed something, that because of technology, your information can easily be transferred from one app to the other app. So if you are Facebook user and you are Instagram user, you would realize that most often than not, if you are sharing an info on IG, they would ask you if you get one to share it on your Facebook page as well. So it means that if your information on one app is not consistent with the rest of the apps you are using or the social medias you are using, it is possible you can still feed the other platform with all of your information, which is still dangerous for you. And I mean, with internet, it shouldn't be something exciting to be posting a lot of stuff on it. People can easily duplicate your profile and then attack you, or even use it for things that you yourself, you are not aware. And it is growing each and every day. Well, we will come to that, but I don't want to go ahead of myself. Yeah, so I'll stop for here.
All right, thank you so much, Joe. So yeah, the thing is that for some personal information, try as much as possible to avoid them if it's possible, because the more you put them there, you've exposed your vulnerability, your date of birth, your phone number, and maybe I don't expect anyone to take a picture of their, identification card and put it out there in places where you live that people have, social security numbers. I don't expect you to put your social security number there. And in fact, let's even emphasize on this Ghana card. It's getting to a time where we are getting to, if someone is able to get hold of your Ghana card, they will basically be able to get almost every information about you. And that is highly going to be possible. So please be very careful how you handle it. Don't let it get missing anyhow because you think that you can get the opportunity to go and replace it or whatever. But the fact that it's even got lost and someone got hold of it, they can use it to do something dubious before you even get the opportunity to track it or change it. That is, even if you have the opportunity, but you may not even be lucky to have the opportunity to do that. Okay. All right. So my next question is if that is not true, that we don't have everything on the internet and some information are restricted, there's the possibility that we can limit ourselves from some of these potential vulnerabilities and harm associated. Why is it that we have so much information on the internet these days? Like, why do we have so much information on the internet?
Okay, so I can't go for now.
Sure, feel free.
One main reason is the fact that evolution of technology. And because of technology, everyone can quickly get an information written out and then push it on the internet, construct a message, put it on the internet. So, and as to whether it is coming from the right source or the genuine source is a problem. So we push a lot of information on the internet, yet they are misleading or they are falsehood. So it basically because of technology being increased everywhere and everyone basically has access to technology and all that. And another reason that probably I will talk about is the fact that we have a lot of information out there because the internet itself does not filter which information should be here and which information should not be here. So this is where the human capacity comes in, that you yourself will have to learn the skill of media literacy to be able to evaluate and analyze the information that you are accessing, whether it is good or it is not good for you. But the internet itself, unless, of course, you develop a system or a website that can literally, how do we call it, filter the information for you. But generally, the internet itself does not have the capacity to filter the information, which in the long run can reduce how much information we have online. All right.
All right. Thank you very much. Ayebila, do you want to come in?
Yes, so Joe has said it rightly. Anybody, all of us sitting down here, once you have a phone, you can type something. You have a laptop that you can get access to the internet. You can put any information online, and that's the danger. So anybody sitting anywhere, all the important people, excuse me to say that one, the important people you know in society, the less important people you know, the trustworthy ones, the untrustworthy ones. In fact, all the people you see in real life, the same people can put information on the internet, and the internet will never question it, why are you putting it here? And so it becomes very difficult. And that's even the more reason why we are here, because you need to know that what you see on the internet, anybody can put it there. So we have to be aware of this so that you know what you are consuming from the internet, basically.
All right. Thank you so much for those submit. And as I alluded earlier, or liking internet to the market is the same thing, unless otherwise a particular information is restricted, maybe because it violates the rules of the platform on which you are putting it there. No one can prevent you from posting anything on the internet, whether be it the social media or traditional media platforms. It can be there. It's the same thing that we have with our local markets. Maybe unless there is a bird flu or a particular, poultry disease, no one can tell you not to send your chicken to the market to go and sell. You can always take it there. So as it is with information, it's there. So you get there and there are so many animals, there are so many other products on the market to buy. It's the same thing with the internet. You go to the internet, whether you are searching on Google, whether you are using popular social media platforms like Facebook, you go there, there are thousands and millions of information. So it even becomes very confused for you to determine which one to buy. But as I said, if you are someone who is information literate, and that's the purpose or the reason why we're having this session this evening, you would you would know how to evaluate and then distill the information or the kind of information you consume. And if you realize those of us who are very, let me say, available on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or any of the videos or photos, social media platform, you realize that the kind of information you consume, for instance, me, I am a fan of Nigerian comedy. So if I open my Facebook, the first thing I see that comes to me is what Nigerian comedy, because they know that that is what I consume. So Facebook, through an intelligence, would always feed you with what you consume. So the more you continue to feed on less effective and useful information, the more you continue to get them. Apart from Nigerian comedy, I do Nigerian politics a lot. I am a part of the Obedient Fund. If I go on social media, all the information that are directed to me, they bring the Obedient movement news and information to me because they know that is what I consume. So it's very important that you know what you are consuming and how to avoid consuming dangerous or less useful information. All right, that said, Joe, I will take it from you. We have these emerging terms, disinformation and misinformation. Are there differences between these terms? And if there are differences, what are the differences?
Okay, so yeah, definitely there is a slight difference between the two. So when we're talking about disinformation, it's basically finding a misleading or a false information that is spread deliberately with the intention of deceiving or misleading people. So we see it happening in so many forms, but probably we don't recognize that that is what is happening. So fake news is one of them, rumors is one of them, even propaganda, whether political propaganda, church propaganda, whatever kind of propaganda it is disinformation. And basically, the purpose of this information is usually to influence the public opinion or manipulate people's beliefs and their behavior, maybe for a political, ideological, or financial gain. Depending on the writer of the information, he can really tell what is the intent or the motive for why he is doing what he's doing. But it is just a misleading information with the intention of misleading or deceiving people. So we can also look at what we call the misinformation. And with misinformation, that is talking about inaccurate information that is spread and necessarily not not with the intention to deceive. So somebody wants to communicate something, but he doesn't really have the accurate information to communicate. And so probably he gives a false information or a half provided information to the people, but his intention was not to deceive them. Get that he could not get the right information or the full access to the information, and he said a false or an inaccurate information out there. And I mean, it also happens in the same kind of like the same way we see it in conspiracy theory, it happens in fake news, it happens in propaganda, it happens in rumors. And that is why it is advisable as a young guy or a young lady in our age that you don't get share anything you see. You should be able to verify the source and verify the authenticity of it before you share. Verify where it's coming from, how true is it, how relevant even it is for me to share with the people I want to share before you say it. Because any information you are sharing out there also has something to do with your personal integrity and reputation. So whilst you are sharing something, whether it appears as disinformation or misinformation, you should take your time to verify the source and make sure that you are sharing an accurate and responsive information. So basically, this is what I can say about the two terms.
All right, thank you so much. Ayebile, do you want to add something?
Yes, I just want to give examples. Joseph has explained it properly, so I'll just give a few examples. The thing that got me thinking about, all of this stuff and suggesting that we hold this conversation is because I see it a lot just happening. As of yesterday, there was information flying around on WhatsApp that there's a new type of fraud in Ghana, and they call it SIM swap fraud. Yes, the information that was being put across, very useful, very relevant, but is it factual? Where was this information coming from? Who sanctioned this information? Who approved this information to be shared around? And it will surprise you to know that on the same platform that I am in, that information was shared 3 times by different people yesterday. You are sitting down there, someone has forwarded it to the group. In an hour time, another person has forwarded the same thing to the group. And you just keep wondering, like, why? Like, why would people just keep forwarding information that has no author to it? They just say copied from an online cybersecurity group. How is that good information to be passed around? So to some extent, yes, it might look, and the issue with misinformation and disinformation is that they travel faster than anything else. And if you heard this thing recently, they said the fake is news, like fake news, and they say the fake is news. So fake news travel faster than any other good information. And that's because of the characteristics or the nature of it. It looks like rumor, like if like rumor that, oh, somebody, the thing that is called a rumor, that one travels faster than any credible open source information that is out there. And that's because of the nature. People, it is sensational, it is interesting to be shared, and people will just tend to share it with people in their close network, and it just keeps moving. Do you get that? So misinformation, disinformation, in simple terms, is fake news. Anything fake you are sharing around, know that you are participating in doing this one. Whether you know it willingly or you don't know it and you are doing it, that is what it is. And another example of disinformation is done with an intention to cause confusion. It is done with an intention to cause harm. A typical example is recently the Boku conflict. We saw a letter purported to be coming from the office of the vice president, where the vice president wrote the letter and congratulated the newly enskined Boku Naba. And that thing was shared. In fact, it was shared very, very much again on certain platforms that people thought this would be interesting information to share. And I just keep wondering, like, why? Then a few days later, we see a counter, letter or some post from the vice president's personal assistant that disregard this is fake. It's not coming from the vice president. That's an example as well of disinformation. This was done to cause confusion in the camp of some 2 groups that are fighting. There's another one flying around social media right now, purported to be coming from former President John Mahama, saying that John Mahama is offering 2,000 CDs to you, blah, 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 which is false. I see people sharing it. My own sister shared it and put it on her status, and it broke my heart. Like, my heart was broken. You can't just put injurious information and put it on your WhatsApp status for your friends and family members to come and click. And I will show you something shortly. I will demonstrate something shortly. If you participate in sharing some of these any information you find around, you feel like sharing, those information, people have seen them more than 3 times, 4 times, 10 times. Some of them, the information was probably there even before you started using the internet. But because you don't know, you just come and you find it. It sounds so beautiful, and then you start sharing it. Misinformation, disinformation, that's one of them. So someone can pick a news item as far back as in the 90s and just put a new date to it, and it looks like it's coming from very recent publication. They can change the source of it, saying that this is coming from this place, and that's what makes it very hard and very difficult to combat. And before we leave, you will definitely learn how you'll be able to question some of these things, or save yourself the embarrassment when you share something and later on realize that this was fake. So I won't say much. I'll just pause here and then we move on.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. That was so educative and informational. So in simple terms, when we say disinformation, someone is sharing information that is not true with the intent to cause distraction, confusion, harm, or disharmony between a group of people or between a group of communities or societies or whatever parties are involved. But when we talk about misinformation that you've seen an information that is not true, but you are sharing, but you didn't share it with the intent to cause confusion or damage. So the only difference between disinformation and misinformation is whether or not there is an intent. And I'm sure that in the near future, governments should be looking at regulating how we share information on social media platforms, particularly on close ones like WhatsApp. In fact, and I even think some time ago, there was some news roaming about that South Africa had enacted a law to hold WhatsApp administrators responsible for, whatever post goes onto their platform and all those kind of stuff. I don't know whether that is verifiable or not. And if it were, to what extent is it relevant in our Ghanaian context? And how do we as information literates advocate to governments and to relevant institutions to put in necessary measures to protect ourselves and our family members? In fact, you were even lucky to see the counter letter that came from the special assistant to the vice president. I never saw it. And it definitely points to the fact that we see that fake is news, because people were really fast in sharing the first one, which was obviously false, but too slow to share the correct one because, it would have been kind of a damage to their reputation. So in short, any information you see, please read and ask yourself, where is this coming from? Even if it's purported to come from a particular place, is it true that it's coming from this place? One, they say it's coming from the office of the vice president. If it's coming from the office of the vice president and you go to the vice president's social media handle, usually has a verified Facebook, Twitter, or whatever handle is verified, you go and check and it's not there, you should question it. You should be hesitant to share it. Wait until you are sure of what you are sharing before you go. You can even look at the signing, how the letter font and all those things are writing. It's clear. And for...
Okay, so let me just keep on something there.
Yeah, Joe.
With the letter, people can fake signatures. Now, and then date, like Ayabile said. But when it is about letter, any official letter that will come to the public must have a letterhead. And I know all of us know what the letterhead is. So at least if it is coming from the vice president, we should see a letterhead of the flag star out there. And that alone, if it is that way, people are scared to fake that part of the letter. They will not add a letterhead to the exact letterhead to the letter if it is fake. So some of these things, you can easily use them to see if it is really true or not. And you can also try to even check the government website to verify, and then government news website or popular news website, maybe in your country or your region, to verify if there's something similar on that website. I'm not saying all other news websites, because of late, we can't even trust our Ghanaian news website. But the public, the government and the traditional ones, at least, they are kind of a bit trustworthy for now. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to add.
All right, Jules, then you just take it from there. How do we combat these nuisances in this era of information, disinformation and misinformation? How do we combat it? Are there ways that we can combat it apart from the discussion we're having today? How do we ensure that we are not victims or perpetrators of this misinformation?
Yeah, so like we said, I think we've already discussed it, but we will have to go over them. We have to go over them. Now, to verify if the information is right, there's something we have in, so I'll start with disinformation, and that's even our topic, and in misinformation. There's something we call fact-checking in information literacy or information retrieval. And that is to make sure that you check the information before you say it. And how do you check the information? Fact-checking involves verifying the source of the information, verifying biases. Was there any bias? Because you could see. Verified inaccuracies, consulting multiple sources to confirm the information is accurate. So I think a couple of weeks ago, there was this pool of voting about whether government should come in to solve the Baku conflict or no. And people were rushing and voting and even encouraging people to vote. And nobody actually cared to confirm whether it was a true information or not. And they keep sharing it on platforms and encouraging people to vote. If not, the other group of people will vote and win whatever and whichever. Sometimes people who are able to verify information and all that may sound weird because they stand not to support your opinion, but that is the right thing that you should do. You need to verify. That was a very fake news or a very fake pool that was just coming up from somewhere, and we were all rushing to vote in, get, because of course we have the love for our people, but it also shows the level of our ignorance when it comes to information literacy. So you need to check the fact checking whether it is really true, the sources. Check everything that you need to know. And another way to combat disinformation and misinformation is to adapt to using maybe education and media literacy. So you need to educate yourself. We are in a digital age. Whether you are a tech lover or not, it has come to stay. And obviously, you probably might not be able to avoid it as you live in the society as today. And so the best thing is to learn some basic media literacy, educate yourself to recognize and be able to evaluate the reliability of information, their sources, how people can easily construct and then guess put anything. So you should be able to educate yourself to be able to distinguish between the credible and the unreliable ones, and even how to identify misleading information and all these things. It will help you, it will save you from a lot of harm, and it will also save you, people around you. I guess I have a couple of points, so I will highlight them and maybe give the way to Ayabila. And we are all, most of us are graduates or students in the university or in the college. So this is where critical thinking has to come in. You need to critically think and analyze the thing in your mind as to whether what is coming is really a good thing that you should. Now, this might sound weird, but if there's a system you can report any false information once you identify it, you should be able to do that. Because if we are able to report false information, at least we can deter people from releasing false information to be misleading people. Another way is to use website like government websites instead of any other website for most of the information you want, and traditional media websites. I know communication is growing and so many media houses are coming up and all that. Yet they actually don't give us what we want. Some provide complete fake news, some provide inaccurate information, and that is not what you and I want. We want the right, we want the accurate, and we want what we can really read and know that we are doing the right thing. So basically, this is what I'll talk about, how to combat them.
All right, Ayabila, the floor is yours. Thank you, Joe.
Okay, thank you. So if you permit me, I'd just like to share my screen, and then I'll just show people a few things.
Sure, go ahead.
All right. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see it from here.
Okay. So I'm on my WhatsApp, and then I'm in one of the groups that I belong to. And as you can see, that was on the 2nd of
March.
March, yes. And on the 16th of February, 16th of February again, different people posted this thing of John Mahama sharing stuff. And I just want to show you how that message looks like in case someone hasn't seen it. Just says John Mahama 2000 Ghana Cedis business and youth support fund for Ghanaians. Hurry. When you see that word, hurry now and check, please. If you see any message that comes and it adds some sense of urgency to it, and it just looks so good to be believable, know that this is not good. This is likely to be fake. This is malicious and it has an intent to deceive people or dupe people of something. So you have to be careful. If you see something like this with a promise and it's, yeah, you see how they've written John Mohammed's name in capital letters, business and whatever is written in capital letters, a mixture of different things, you would know that this is not it's coming from a genuine thing. You look at the source of that information. You see LP, LYUP something.com, Mahama 2023 grant. That shows you that this is nothing. Now, I'm going to show you something here. So I created this form to demonstrate something. So this is a form I have created from my end, and I've called it Creative Avoca Fund for Youth Support. Mind you, if I fly this one out today, probably before we wake up tomorrow, I would have gotten about 2,000 or probably 100,000 Ghanaians filling this form because they are so desperate and they need money. Once they hear support, everybody wants to fill it. But look at the dangerous information that this simple form is collecting. It's getting your email address, it's getting your full name, it's getting your date of birth, getting your level of education. It will deceive you to upload your Ghana card and your phone number. So what do you think I'm going to do with this information if you give it to me? And this is how much people are being deceived every day. So that link you click, that if you participate in sharing this link around, just know you might be wise, you might think, oh, this one is fake, and you don't feel it, but somebody else will see it, and then they will just go ahead and fill it without even thinking twice. They'll go and scan their Ghana card and upload it, and I will have it. So I have your Ghana card, I have your name, I have your phone number, I have your email address. This alone is enough for me to take control of your whatever account you are using online. I can go to your bank and empty your money from your bank account, and there'll be no question. And this is where that information that's flying around about what do you call it? About a new type of fraud called SIM swap scam. This particular information that's flying about as well. That's the only way that information makes sense. So if somebody, let's say you misplace your SIM card today or something has happened to it, you are definitely going to call your the teleco that you got that SIM card with and tell them, okay, I've misplaced my SIM card or this has happened to it, and they're going to try and replace it for you. In the course of doing that, they're going to ask you questions to really ascertain that you are the true owner of that account. So if they ask you of your date of questions that are supposed to be personal, include things like your date of birth, your full name, your email address, maybe your ID card, which in this case, obviously is going to be the Ghana card. And so if I have this information in my possession, what do you think I can do to your SIM card? I'm simply just going to go and take over. And once I have your SIM card, I can get to your bank account. I can get so much information, so much, I can do so much damage to you. So if you participate in sharing the John Mahama fund for people, we don't know the intent behind it. So, and like I'm saying, any idiot can just put it up. I have put this in up. I don't intend to send it to anybody. I'm not even going to share it. But if I share this out and you just grab it and then you also start flying it around, you fill it and then you give me these details for free in the name of applying for support, you don't even know who is collecting this information. You don't know what they're going to do with it. They just deceive you and you are in a hurry to upload your information. You are doing a lot of damage to so many people. And that's why people will call you every day and say, hey, are you this person? We've seen that scammers are following you, blah, blah, blah. And then you are so amazed that they know your name and that they know your phone number. You're like, okay, they must be coming from MTN. Then they trick you to give them your PIN and then they will empty your mobile money. I know there are culprits amongst us, they can attest to this one. That's social engineering. They just go online and find a little information about it. So if I have this form, even if I didn't collect your email and then your Ghana card or whatever, I just have your phone number and your name. I can go online and find other information about you. That's where going to your Facebook or tracing your digital footprints become very, very important. So I go to your Facebook, I visit your Twitter, I go to the different platforms that you are likely to be there. And then I can piece together information that will make me know you so much. So I come to you and I'm talking to you, and then you are so amazed that, wow, the person knows so much about me. If you've forgotten that you put that information out there and they have it. Do we get that? So we're talking about disinformation and misinformation, how to combat it. But I want to drive home the point that sharing stuff like that are so injurious. Like if you participate in sharing them, know that you are doing a lot of harm to so many innocent people who do not know what they are doing on the internet. And that's why it is very important that you to equip yourself with this information, so that you know what you are sharing on the internet. Please, the best way to stop disinformation and misinformation is, if you don't know what it is, don't share. If you are not too sure, you know that it is me or it is someone you trust, that this person know what they are about, who have sent this information to you, don't share. You are not online to be sharing stuff. If I see my family members or my close relatives, I tell, though, if you share information with me, make sure that you know who wrote it. Make sure you know the source. If you don't know the source of it, don't share with me, because I'm not interested. So if you adopt the same approach, you will be safe, you'll be fine on the internet, because sharing links, sharing information, who cares? Who has asked you to be sharing? Like, you are not here to be sharing stuff to people, please. So that's so important. That's also something you should take notice of. Don't just share anything because you find it interesting. No, there's a lot of fake things out there, and then you might be one of the people who are just peddling those fake things. So first thing, if I pick the John Mahama 2000 CDs fund, I'm looking for where is it from. If you are in doubt, if you are not sure that you know where that information is coming from, just go online and search. Just go to Google and just search John Mahama. I searched it already to confirm that this was true. So I'm just going to do a new search. So John Mahama, I just type his name, John Mahama Fund for Ghanaians. When I search, I'll see news items. And let me see. Okay, so let me just be more specific. So if you search, if you don't know, just copy the same thing you saw over there and search. And when you search, you see that it pops up here. They say John Mahama denies 2000 series youth grant announcement. And it is coming from a credible news agency, Ghana Web. If I'm in Ghana and I see something from Ghana Web, I know that I can rely on it. So this is coming from Ghana Web, that John Mahama denies, saying that he's offering 2000 cities to the youth. So if you find something, someone shares something with you, don't also start sharing. Please just go onto Google, go onto your browser, and if you have access to the internet, just search the same thing. You will see that if it is true, you should see it in one of the popular news agencies that you know, or good online sources. Do you get that? Maybe what's the name? yen.com has been titled as a scam alert. So you know that this one, you're being scammed. So John Mahama distanced himself from 2000 CDs. So do this fact checking, do this basic thing before you come out and start sharing that information, because it's very difficult to really even tell if it is true or not. The other information about Baumia's letter, just come and probably type Baumia congratulates Nairi on Boku on new Boku. I do this, if it is true, you should see it probably will be carried on Joy News or Ghana Web or Graphics Online. See it, don't share. Know that you are being scammed. It's fake. Whatever you are sharing is fake. So please, one of the ways to confirm, to verify that what you have is true, if you look at how it is written, you ask yourself, what is the source of it? When was it written? If you are not too sure, just search the same thing on your browser if you have access to the internet, and the truth will be revealed if it is true or it's not true. That being said, something else. So this is my personal blog. So I'll put the link there. You can go and find interesting stuff there to read. But this is who am I to be able to give you like credible information? So this is my opinion. These are my opinions put together. So you don't pick distance. Oh, once it's coming from online, it exists on the internet, it must be true. You get that? And so therefore I start sharing. If you want to know that the source of it, look at the URL, look at the address. This is coming from cletusavocaayebila.wordpress.com. Author cletusavocaayebila. This is an individual, and it's not even coming from any credible site. He's just using the WordPress template to just write things over. Anybody can just go and start a free WordPress blog, and then they will start writing. So these are not stuff you should rely on. You can't take this and say this is an authority. Ayebila Avoka is not an authority on African affairs or anything, police, whatever, police prejudice against men of hair in Ghana. He's not an authority. So whatever he's saying, you have to take it with a pinch of salt. You have to go and do further research to know that whatever you are seeing over here is not the final authority. Am I communicating?
Yes, Papa, you are communicating.
All right, thank you, sir. So I'm so sorry that I'm speaking a lot because I'm so passionate about this. So please take your time, evaluate materials you find on the internet, know who is putting it out there before you start sharing it. If you are in doubt, don't even share at all. If you are in doubt, ask a friend, ask someone you trust. At least myself, Joseph, and Vasco over here, I've seen Samuel and other people over here. They have good knowledge of these things. Ask them, I've seen this thing flying around the internet. Is it true? Then they will say, oh, I've seen it too, or let me check. And then they help you to know that, okay, what you're saying is true or it's not true. There are laws to punish people who are doing these things, but it's very difficult to trace and then probably catch them. So that's why you have to be the one to police yourself once you're on the internet. Take steps to protect yourself. Take steps not to be part of people who are spreading misinformation and disinformation that results in the many foolish people on the internet calling you every day to say they've sent you mobile money, can you send it back to them and all of that. And you wonder how they got your number. You gave it out. You fill a form online and just gave it out, all those details without questioning. Are we okay? So I'm going to leave it here and we can have time for questions and all that.
All right, thank you so much, Ayebila, for that wonderful demonstration. And I think the culprits of those who perpetrate or share some of these messages are people who hardly come on WhatsApp. Maybe they come on WhatsApp once a day or once in a week or once in a blue moon. As soon as they buy data and they come online and the first message pops up, they see it. Before you realize, they are flying it over. They will not even take their time to read the platform on which they're about to share, because you have not been online the whole day. So you cannot come on online and assume that the whole day no one has posted that message on the platform you are about to share it onto. So it's just only prudent that when you are someone who is not very active on WhatsApp or the platform on which you are about to share that information, at least take your time and read on the platform on which you are about to share that information to see whether it's already posted there or not before you even go ahead to share it. Because sometimes it's very annoying to wake up and see not only an annoying message, but a false message being circulated several times by people on the same platform over and over again. And it was, as Ayebila was demonstrated, it was shared on the 16th of February, and it was still shared on the 2nd of March. Meanwhile, these are false information. So if the one who shared it on the 3rd of March was prudent enough to check on the platform before sharing, they would have realized that this message was shared already. And probably they would have seen other people commenting or saying that it's not true or it's true before you even go ahead to share it. So please don't open up your doors for scammers to come into you. And then don't also contribute to helping others to share their information to others. Maybe perhaps it may not even be you opening the link and then filling out the Google form as he was demonstrating that they can get your information. But some of them are engineered such that as soon as you click on the link and it takes you there, in fact, it automatically downloads everything from your hard drive. So all your passwords and everything on your PC, it will take it. And annoyingly, some of them, after even you taking the pain to complete the form, they will tell you that congratulations, you've been selected, and that you should share to 10 people, 5 groups, 2 groups to activate your listen. Like, what kind of nonsense is that? It's not true. Anything you have to do, and they're asking you to share to 5 people, to share to 6 people before you win the credit, before you win the money, just know that it's not true. It's falsehood. People are just trying to play with you, to help you, to take you, to use you to help them, harvest other people information. So please, let's take note. We are wrapping up. So please, if you have any question, get them ready very soon. I'll open the platform and then you can share your questions and we take them. You can also begin to put them in the chat box if you already have them so that we can take it. And I see
Vasco, before we move to the question.
We are not going to the question yet. We have others to discuss. I'm just alerting them. And we have some senior most other IT people on the platform. I hail you all for joining, and I hope that when it's time for contributions and questions, you will take the opportunity to add your voices so that this interaction will be well balanced. And excuse my language, it's not only those who are IT people that have experience with this. You can be a non-IT person and have the privilege or the opportunity to learn something from this somewhere, or have experienced how you've been scammed, duped, or participated in sharing information in the past that wasn't true. So please, you can also feel free to share. Joe, please, the platform is yours.
Yes, so I wanted to just add one thing to all that Ayebile has given. That was a very informative presentation. And another issue is the email. So you are there as a student looking for scholarship, and all of a sudden you open your email and they've pushed you an email with a link that you've been given this amount of scholarship and you should fill this form or contact them via the link below. And as aggressive as you are looking for scholarship to sponsor your education, you are willing to do whatever you would do to get that. And you click on the link. And as Vasco said, they can get everything, whether you are using your phone or you are using your laptop, they can get every detail about you from your machine and use it against you, or use it for whatever purpose that they want to use it for. So with the email, how do we know that this email is fake or this email is genuine? The basic way to notice that is to check the domain of the email. That is the first thing to do. The domain of the email. I don't know if we know what the domain of the email is, but I'm just trying to.
Feel free if there's the need to demonstrate on your laptop.
Yes, so I'll share my screen and get show you something from my email. All right, so now I'm sure you can see my email, right? And I have this email coming from one e-commerce website. Probably, let's say that this was a fake email and I wanted to check. Usually, this is where you get the domain of your email. It may not show, but if it is not so, you just click on here. Everything about the information they sent you will be here. Now, the domain is my domain is at gmail.com. Most genuine emails, especially if they are coming from authentic source, they will have the company name as the domain. So it is not advisable to confirm information from individuals' emails or emails you will see at doc.net and some at online.org. Those things all are fake emails and they are just trying to get your information. Social engineering is really becoming very strong with their skills. They are growing each and every day, and they are making sure that they will provide you with an enticing information so that you will be willing to offer them, and then they will get your information. So like a couple of weeks ago, people were contacting me and asking about UNICAF scholarship because they have received emails telling them that they have won certain amounts. Some they said parcel, some they said whatever. And they actually wanted to get into contact with them and know what they have for them. And some of them went ahead to click on the link. And that link, the moment you click on it, it can track everything. Even some of them, their system is hard that they can really take what we call your IP. So while they get your internet protocol address, they can do anything even on your own laptop. You'll be using a laptop and someone else is monitoring you. You are using your Wi-Fi and someone is also using it for other stuff, because that is the way they want to get access to your stuff. I mean, I am open to share this. Last semester, Vasco is aware, they actually interrupted me on that. And this is how it happened. During the time of the World Cup, I just came back from class and I was finding it. I usually have a particular link that I use to watch the match online, but that the kind of like maybe I was just not getting the link. So I went to one of the platforms over here, then a link to watch it live was provided. Then I click on it. The moment I click on it and I started watching, for about 15 seconds, they have taken control of my laptop and they seized everything. I couldn't operate the laptop. They stopped it and I quickly have to close everything. They gave me their details to contact them and blah, blah. It was my school that helped me restore it. So some of the links, whether it's football link, email link, be sure to verify, like, before you move on to click on them and all that. They are really, really dangerous for our consumption as far as, I mean, social engineering is concerned. All right, so that was what I wanted to add to what Ayebile said.
All right, thank you, Joe. In fact, I would have also shared my screen, but because I'm recording, I'm unable to do that. For those of us who are in educational institutions, someone can hack into your school system and then start to use some of your lecturers to send certain information. Having the ability to read and decipher what could be coming from your lecturer and what is not coming from your lecturer is very important. But this one was coming from a supervisor that I worked with in a previous semester. So it came with administrative assistant remote jobs. Some departments are currently hiring individuals, blah, blah, blah. And they say weekly salary is 400 to whatever. That for more information, kindly contact with your alternative email address as well as your school schedule. Now, this is supposed to be coming from my professor. And my professor is telling me that I should reply with my alternative email. Already, this is kind of like a question mark you should be asking yourself. And in any case, if your professor in the department wanted to share information with you, why wouldn't they would have discussed with you? They would have told you that we have this position open before they even go ahead to send it to your email. And for you to just know that this information is a non-starter, it won't fly anywhere. They are telling you that, oh, for more information, kindly contact whosoever. And they are giving you a Gmail address. There is no way someone from an organization or an academic institution will be using a personal email and ask you to share it with that one. Some of them sometimes are smart enough. Maybe if they work at MTN, they will say, okay, maybe Vasco at mtn.gmail.com. But at gmail.com. But the truth is that if someone is from MTN, they will be using at gmail.com. They'll be using at mtn.com. They will not be using at gmail.com. So please, even when you receive an information from a source that you appear to know the person, read the information more than once, and don't just be excited about the offer that is being made to you and be ready to what to do. So when I saw this, I quickly reached out to the professor and I told her that it looked like her email was compromised because I saw a message that wasn't clear. And yeah, she confirmed that she also got that report from other students and she has reported it to IT department and they're working on it. So please don't be in a hurry to share very promising messages because they have mouth-watering offers and those kind of things. But thank you so much. The session is becoming too long, but I think it's worth it. So we are going to the last part and then I'll open the floor for people to contribute and ask questions. It can even be an open forum if you like, that would be fine. So final question on final two questions. So we want to look at some resources or tools for finding quality content, maybe particularly for academic purposes, if I may restrict it to that matter. Joe, how do we find quality information or content what tools and resources exist that we can use to do so. Thank you.
Okay, so I will start with, since I'm in academia, I'll start with the educational website. Like we said, almost everything relating to education is findable online, but the trustworthy of it might not be outstanding as you want. So you can get some of these things from well-known educational websites. I mean, places like Khan Academy, Czech Academy, TED Talks, Coursera. These are all known educational websites that can provide you with the accurate and the right information you need. It is not everything you should go to Google and search out. At least make sure you trust the source you are actually using. Another one that we can talk about is online libraries. There are so many online libraries all over the world that wherever you find yourself, you can still use them to be able to get the information. I'll touch on every site to be able to get any academic information that you need. If you are also probably in the information sciences and you want to use things relating to databases, then an online libraries is also a good place for you because they have the right database that you probably need that relates to what academics. And if you want things that has to do with journals, we have academic journals website that you can search all these things out. So try the traditional websites first before you try even using maybe Google. I'll come to how we can also use Google for the best thing we want. If it is something that is related to a country, you first of all try the government website before you try going to media platforms and all that. If it is about news, at least if you are in a country, know about 2 to 3 trusted news websites or sources that you can boldly, always consult if you need information. So if you go to, if you are in Ghana, you can look at Ghana Web and other stuff that are really reliable that we know. I believe Yen.com. Sometimes they can just go astray, and most often than not, if you follow them well on social media like Facebook and other places too, they can go astray. Like they will give you information that is not even anything that everybody will need. And if you want to review some things, there are websites you can look at as TripAdvisor. You want to review if what you are searching out is genuine. TripAdvisor. You can also look at Yelp. That Yelp is spelled Y-E-L-P. And all these things are get there to help us get what we want and to be able to do and perform well in our various, endeavors. Google Scholar is also another place that, especially if you are in academia and you want to do something that relates to academic referencing, academic articles, and academic writing, Google Scholar is one of the best tools you can set. Now, using Google itself, not even the Google Scholar, you can limit your search. You see, first, let's search something, and he wasn't getting what he really wanted. And he said, let me be more specific. So when it comes to searching for information, your ability to word your word and make it specific would provide you the relevant information you are looking for. So if you are looking for probably something that you need, maybe you are looking for, let me see, you are just looking for news on crime in Ghana. So news on crime in Ghana, you can put it in a quotation mark on Google and it will give you all that you need. And that one limits you only to news on crime. It doesn't give you variety of information. It gives you specific because you have defined what you need. So it will give you only news related to crime in Ghana, not any other place or whatever, only news related to crime in Ghana. You can also use other tools like Google Advanced Search. All these things is the same Google Advanced Search. You can also use that one to leverage how fast you can search and how accurate you can get your information. Like, I mean, we said time is really catching up and we probably might not have the time to do a lot of demonstrations. So let me pause here and let my other panel also come in.
All right, thank you so much, Joe. I think we've done enough or more than justice to the topic, and we've run into people's times and stuff. But I think that I will open the floor at this time, and then take questions from participants, contributions from participants, and then we can take it from there and wrap up with the last question that I would have had for you. Mr. Namoa, please, your hand is up. Kindly unmute yourself and then ask your question. Hello, Will. We can't hear you, though you are unmuted. If you are talking, we cannot hear you at this moment. It's time for questions. You can put your question in the chat or you put up your hand and I call you to speak or ask your question. It can also be a contribution. Yes, Dennis, please, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I just want us to know that misinformation is really it's really a big problem. And it's such that if you don't take time, one is just not getting wrong information. It leads to kind of like backward in finances. It leads to kind of like, I mean, everything you can think of, like misinformation can lead to that. And there are some practical things like Avoka and the other guy said. Sorry, I think I don't know his name so well. Sorry. And so if you look through those spheres, you see that we have to kind of like, you just don't need to be online, but you need to be proactive. And then I just don't think it's just only misinformation, but another thing is a lot of people get so unproductive these days. And I also feel like it's as a result of like, you just inhaling information, you don't know what to do. And like, you are just online doing like, just online going through WhatsApp messages, and it doesn't really do you any useful thing. And at the end of the day, you get misinformed and you think you know so much, then you go to make all the mistakes in the world. But then I think just one of the ways to limit misinformation is to make sure that we are online for a good purpose. And that is, it's just not okay to just be online. It's just not okay. You should have something productive to do with your time online. And Avoka has been a very, I don't know, Avoka has been my course mate, my classmate, and everything. And I would say a senior brother in a way. And I've happened to learn so many things from him. And one of the things like taking online courses, you have access to internet, and you should be trying to make yourself better. For example, one of the things you can do is learn how to just speak in public, learn how to kind of like, even if not, learn how to create your own portfolio, learn something useful. And examples, some sites like Coursera you can go there instead of spending your time to get misinformed. When you have your data, you go to something like Coursera and you find something useful to learn. Or you can also use the online media for useful things. For example, you can get good mentors on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, for example, you can find useful career information on LinkedIn. And those are very good opportunities you should be searching for. And instead of just going to Facebook and just posting, and I've always been telling Avocat this, and the social media is such that these days, the amount of stress we have these days is increasing and increasing. It's not just, we have unhealthy competition going on, and it's as a result of the internet. Instead of going to the internet, you feel like you are not making progress around the life you are living. I think the best way to do or to go about this is to go to the internet trying to improve yourself. And that is, you go and you are searching for opportunities where you're going to learn. Instead of going to Facebook and you go to Facebook, okay, your colleague is doing this and I'm not doing that. You go back, you're feeling so bad. You make yourself feel uneasy. That shouldn't be happening. And that is all sort of like, you are putting your life in some sphere where you're making yourself to have some toxic things come inside your life, which is not supposed to be so. So it's not only about misinformation. Actually, how you use the internet is very important to your health as a person. So instead of just seeing it like, okay, I'm getting misinformed, know that at the end of the day, you are getting yourself affected, just not physically, just not financially, but also in the sense of your health. Because if you feed negative information from your environment, you end up getting kind of like sick psychologically, because you feel like, okay, my colleagues are making progress, this person is doing this and I'm not doing that. So please, let's use the internet wisely. I think I just saw that Avocat shared the link for Coursera. It's a very useful thing. Go on Coursera. Anything you want to learn, you can learn a useful skill there. That will help you. And I think that is a very productive use of your time. It's better to spend your time, and I always say this, it's better to be offline and to be productive than to spend your entire life being online and you cannot provide anything useful for the amount of money you spend to buy those data, and as well as how to account for the money you spend on the internet. So I think it's really an important topic, and don't allow yourself to be fooled, because a lot of misinformation is going on. And as Avocat said, someone actually sent me that message about John Mahama, and like they are sharing some that 2,000, I don't know if it's 2,000 or 20,000. I just told the person that this is false. I did not react. I just said, this is false. I'm not going to open it. I know so well that this is false. And we should stop anything that looks so kind of like golden, looks so golden. No one gives money. There's no free lunch. So because there's no free lunch, if you have your mind that there's no free lunch, you'll never be misinformed. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Dennis. And I'm sure that next time we will take the opportunity to look at some of those opportunities. So I have Nelson hand up, then after that, I'll bring in Mr. Tankurugu. Nelson, please unmute and then ask your question or make a contribution. And let's be straightforward to the point, whether contribution or question, so that we can give others the opportunity to also contribute. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And thank you for the opportunity. As you have already mentioned, my name is Attila Nelson Lidao. I'm only to thank you for this opportunity and this educative thing that we have learned. In fact, there's something helpful, because some of us, we have been using our phone for past, I should say, years. And the only thing we know is that whether we transfer or we forward messages and other stuff. And sometimes we don't take the time or the pain to look into it, whether this information is very like fake or misinformation. So thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciated, Nelson. Mr. Tankurugu. The floor is yours, sir.
I'm sure maybe he has a problem with his connection.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hello, Patrick.
he said he has been muted. I think you should.
No, he's okay. I think the time he wanted to mute, what time he wanted to unmute was the time I also wanted to mute him. So we did reverse actions. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
All right. Good evening, everyone. And thank you, Vas.
What's the problem?
Hello, Patrick. I think your network is giving you challenges. We can't hear you. Whilst we are waiting to hear from Patrick.
Called you for interview. Manager tells you, the interviewer tells you, okay, so let's say Mr. Whatever, Mr. A, you've applied for this particular job, the job of a brand manager. Before you came in here, I've actually made some research. I've searched online to find out more about you. And this is the information I got. Now, the interviewer shows you his screen. And then what you are seeing there is the video of, say, a lady twerking on TikTok. Okay, and that lady is you. Or let's say he has also shown you the picture of someone misbehaving somewhere. This is the position of a brand manager that you have applied for. He has shown you a certain picture and he's asking you, so can you explain why did this happen? Why did you have to do this? Now, in that particular position, what will you do? You will feel embarrassed, you feel ashamed that you put out that content about yourself, that you videoed yourself, you posted useless stuff about yourself online, you've commented, you've posted some useless comments. People are arguing, you go and join them, and then you pass some useless stuff online. Yes, so everything that you put out online, it may go against you one day. Depending on the kind of content you put out. Yes, so let's be extra careful with regards to the kind of content we let out, the kind of stuff we post online, and the kind of information we post online about ourselves, because one day we may not have the opportunity or the chance to get a job or for any other thing. The other day, my boss brought in a business coach to our office, and then he was supposed to take us through some session. And then when the business coach got there, he told us that he knew about every one of us. He has researched information about every one of us, and he knew us. We didn't know him. We were seeing him for the first time, but he knew all of us. Why? How? How did that happen? So this is what happened. He actually searched about us. Our boss had sent our information to the person, our names, and then our basic information about us. And then he picked those names. He searched on Google. Let's say Adasongo Joseph, or let's say whichever kind of name. Yes, so he searches on Google, and then he sees some links appear. He clicks on those links, and then he goes to read more. Who is this person actually? Then he reads more about the person. So that is what happened. Now, let's go back to the story I began with. You are still at the office for the interview, and then your manager or the interviewer asks you, so can you explain what happened? Why did you have to post this content? Why did you have to, say this and that on this particular platform? What are you going to do? Yes, so the information I'm trying to bring to your notice is that we need to be extra, as the panelists and then the hosts have already told us about it. We have to be extra careful about the kind of information we put online. When you go to, let's say you sign into your email, and now you go to takeout.google.com, takeout.google.com. Now, what you will find there is data that is likely to be above 6 gigabytes. Now, this 6 gigabyte data is your own data, the stuff you posted, every single YouTube video you have ever watched, every single Google search you have ever made, every post you have posted online, every comment you have passed, everything that you have put online, everything is there. Once you use that email, once you sign in and it's your phone there, you don't sign in more than once, right? Yes, so it means that you keep searching and doing your stuff online. Your email is, you've already signed in, and then Google is tracking your records. Now, if when you go to that website that I just mentioned, takeout.google.com, They'll ask you, do you want to download your data? It might be so big that you may have to download like 3 different, or divide into 3 or so, then you have to download them one after the other. But after you download, you get to see that these are all the websites you visited. These are all the Google searches you made. So meaning that if I have your email and password, I can know everything about you. I can know, and that's dangerous. That's dangerous. So the website name is, I'll post it, is Takeout, TAKEOUT, takeout.google.com. Yes. So, but first of all, you have to log into your email before you go to the website. Yes. And then, so meaning that if I have your email and I have your password, that's dangerous for you, because I can dictate your life from now onwards, because I know everything about you. What you close to your windows and your doors and you were searching online, I can tell you. I can tell you what you were searching yesterday, what you did on YouTube yesterday, the videos you were watching, the websites you visited, and that's dangerous. Yes. So that's it. Takeout.google.com. Yes. Yeah. So before you get to the manager or the interviewer who will ask you that, why did you make this kind of comment online? You can go to takeout.google.com, download the data. In case you are finding it difficult to, analyze your data, I won't analyze it for you because it's your personal data, but I will show you how to do it. Yes. But then you would actually see some basic information about yourself, and then you will know some of the websites and the Google searches you've made. So just be extra careful. Just be extra careful. It's now people are watching you that you don't know. You are not aware. You close your windows. People are watching you. So be extra careful, and be careful about it. The picture you post about yourself. The entire picture you paint about yourself online, because your employer will judge you based on what they know about you online. You may be very good offline, but when you go online, you are fighting with people, you are doing here and there, and then you are posting nonsense stuff and twerking here and there. Yeah, so be very conscious of the information you let out. Yeah, that's the summary of my message.
All right. Thank you very much, Patrick. That has been very educative and an add-on to what has been discussed already. Any question, contribution? I think there was a question in the chat. I will direct this to the panelists. So Patrick asked, apart from avoiding saving your password on the browser, how, thanks. Okay, so Patrick was adding an information that we should avoid saving passwords on the browser because you can easily be hacked. All right, thank you, Patrick. I am a victim of that because I easily forget password. So when I go and Google says, remember password, I do remember password, and that's all. I would be very cognizant of that from now. Yeah, Mr. Yarga, the floor is yours, sir.
You should unmute him.
He has to unmute himself. I cannot unmute him, but I've asked him to unmute.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
And to my two uncles. Well, I think I just want to ask Mr. Yabila. He cited so many examples in regards to a document that reported to have come from the Vice President's office. So in that regard, where the aide to the Vice President came out in the Banda accession, and they just left it there, wouldn't there be any sanctions against whoever brought out that fake document circulated?
All right, thank you. Abila, the question is yours, or you can share it with you.
Yes, I'm not a lawyer, so I might not be able to tell the what are the punishments for that. But I do know that it's punishable under Ghana's laws. So if journalists report fake information or something, I've forgotten the name of that law. If anyone has legal background, they can check and say it, but it's punishable. But the challenge is how to trace it. So we are not that sophisticated to be able to trace and track where that information came from. And that's why we are saying the users have to take steps to try to protect themselves against these informations. So Zacchaeus, if you know the person that the person that started all of that, the person that actually wrote it and sent it, that person can be arrested. That person can be sent to court and they'll be made to face the law. The problem is how to trace it. I know a similar thing surfaced on a WhatsApp audio was flying around that purported to be coming from one Dr. Patrick Esiama, was it Esiedu? And he claimed that he was stopped and searched by some policemen on the road who found and implanted some cocaine or something like that in his vehicle. I'm sure you might have heard it. You should have heard that particular audio flying around. My own brother sent it to me. It was so difficult to be able to tell that this is not true because the person actually mentioned his name. But it turned out that that name was false. It wasn't his name. He's not a doctor. So such things, it was so difficult to believe that this is false information. But the police, because it was tarnishing the image of the police, they actually took it up. It was in the news all over, but the police actually traced and found that particular person and arrested him. And the person was a taxi driver. So if you know the source, if you can trace and get to the source, it is punishable by law, Zacchaeus. The problem is how to find them.
All right, thank you very much. I think I would probably have to look for someone with knowledge on media law to come and then educate us, or someone with a legal background to come and educate us on that. But you and I on this call has a responsibility. The truth is that Ghana, we don't have comprehensive laws guiding information security. So we have more work to do as young people through advocacy and then, questioning and holding stakeholders accountable and trying to see how best we can contribute to civil society and government efforts towards combating some of these crimes and issues. I have two hands up. Nana, then after that, Ben, you come in. So Nana, please unmute and go ahead.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you. I joined in late, but I don't know whether this one is part of the discussion. From the speech, you're saying that you should be careful the pictures and then the videos that you'll be posting online. But I don't know whether WhatsApp or maybe Google app too is part of it, because normally we save our documents on Google like pictures and videos. So I don't know whether it's part of it. So I want to find out.
All right, thank you. Ben, please go ahead and ask your question so that they may take the two of them together.
Okay, my question goes like this. One of I don't know whether he's a panelist or but one of the participants said like saving a password in a browser is risky. I want to know more how like saving a password in the browser is risky. Then I think this helps us to keep most of the passwords we can keep in our brain then. But like we can know more about it. So I want to know more about that one. So I think if the person can be more explicit.
All right. Thank you so much. So what Nana wanted to find out was that we said we should be careful, or our panelists said we should be careful about sharing information or the kind of information we share. So he wanted to find out whether we should also be careful about receiving information or messages via Google Docs, whether if someone sends pictures, because sometimes when you are sending pictures and they're too much, that the size is too much, you can't send them, it will be converted to a Google Doc or Google file and sent. So we also be careful about some of those ones. or we should be concerned about, if you like, online or social media platforms like Facebook. Okay, Patrick, you can go ahead and make a contribution to the comment about saving your password on the browser and how you can be hacked. And afterwards, I will allow the panelists to take their turns, or if one person to answer about how to be careful about the online information. Thank you. Okay, Patrick, you are here. Let me unmute you. Okay, so go ahead and unmute yourself now, Patrick.
Okay, good evening to everyone.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. Hello, Patrick, you are muted, please.
Yeah, am I on now?
Yeah, you are on, you are on.
Okay, so as I was saying, saving your password on your browser, either your phone or offline. If I take it on it, now I can open the browser, then I go to settings. Let's say if you are using Chrome, for instance, or any other browser, you can go to settings and you will see save password there. So all the website that you have saved the password, it will be there. So when you just click, there's an arrow, the sign that shows that you want to view. Like when you are entering your password, it is just there. You click on it and it will show the kind of email you are using and then the password that you save on it. You can, that's the offline. If I'm able to have access to your laptop, I can see your password that you have saved on your PC. Now, when you come to online, when the hackers have access to your PC, the first thing is they back up the information on your browser, your browsing history and everything will come. They will do a backup of it. Then later they can go on, like Uncle Ayebla was saying. They will now, after they've had that, they will back up everything, and then they can now have your password. Each website, they will now study this website, you were using this password, this website, you were using this with this email. So you will have a common password. Either you have a common password or you have a common combination of letters. So they can use those common combinations and be able to get the one that you didn't even see. Like Uncle Ayebla was saying that they have taken like the form that he designed, they take your Ghana card, they have taken your date of birth. Now, if they have all this information, they can do a permutation, or what do you call it, a combination of maybe your first name and then your date of birth. And by the end of the day, they can get your information. So that is what I have to share with you guys.
All right, thank you so much. Now to the question about being careful about online information or sharing or receiving information online, is Google Docs or platform also something to be wary of? Joe and Ayebila, the floor is yours.
Okay, so let me just take it. If you know who you are receiving it from, let's say I am the one sending it, you trust that I'm not sending you a link pretending to be a Google form or a Google Docs link. I think there's no problem. The problem is when you see it look like it is a Google Doc or a Google form link when it is not. So link, if Kumi is here, Kumi can tell you how you will create a link easily, just disguise it. There's something called redirect. So you might see it look like a Google link coming from Google Doc or Google Forms, but in natural sense, it is not. The more you click on it, they redirect you to a different thing. So that's why it is fearful. So if you see the link, it doesn't matter wherever the link is coming from. Just have to know that you were expecting it and you know the source and you know what it is that you are receiving before you click on. Other than that, if to be safe, don't click on it. Sometimes just hover your mouse around the link. If you have seen a laptop, whatever link you get, hover your mouse on it. You will see the actual destination of that particular link. It might look like, oh, this is taking me to Google about you. Hover your mouse around it and you see that it's actually taking you to a different place. So sometimes with the link as you see it, there are different parts to it. There's no time. So we don't want to go into, hacking and cybersecurity tricks over here. Let's reserve some of these things for a different conversation where we'll actually have some more experts and we'll have some more time to actually go into some of these things so you can protect yourself very well online, because this session is getting too long.
All right, thank you. I definitely would arrange with Mr. Kumi and then bring him up here one of these days to continue on that. But in the meantime, I'm working on a session on immigration issues, hopefully next week.
Amen.
Or if that one is not successful, I'll get another session for next week. So please be ready and join us next week again. You have.
Yeah, I wanted to add something to what Ayabile said. So the guy was asking if sending pictures via Google Drive is also dangerous. Like he said, the source is always where the problem is coming from. If the source is genuine, you are safe. If the source is not, you are not. So with Google Drive or anything Google Doc, you can always allow somebody to view or not to view it, access or not to access it. And so if the person creates it and you know the person, it is okay to click on it. However, after downloading your picture from whichever platform you are going to do that online, it is possible you can take it off since you have downloaded it. Take it off so that you cannot, even yourself, sometimes it is hard to trust some of the things you do, sometimes. So don't just leave it because it's coming from a trustworthy person. Most of these links are put on WhatsApp platform. So someone who also get access to the same link can do something with the link. Another thing I want to add is about the WhatsApp. You see, it is not, even though WhatsApp is encrypted, but you also have to be careful. I've seen a couple of guys who have uploaded their WhatsApp result on their, their WhatsApp interface. So if I go and click on your WhatsApp interface and everything, like those business WhatsApp app guys are using, you realize that somebody has his WhatsApp result on it. And if you are on the same platform with me, the same WhatsApp platform with me, even though I don't have your number, I can get access to all these documents by just clicking on your profile picture and going to your private page, and I get all this access. Now, the thing is, you don't know who might use your information to put you in trouble or to even get hold of relevant information that you need. And that document, for instance, the WhatsApp result I'm talking about, you have your date of birth, almost everything about you is on it. And so that shouldn't be a public document on WhatsApp or whatsoever. People can still get access to it.
All right, thank you so much. And we have our own doc hand up, Dr. Abugubile. Thank you for joining us. Kindly unmute yourself and let's hear you.
All right. Thank you so much, Vasco, for organizing this platform to educate us on tech security. And also thank you, panelists, for dissecting the different questions. I must apologize that I joined late. As Nana mentioned that he joined late, I also joined late. So I don't know if the comments and the questions that I'm going to ask have been addressed. If they have been, pardon me. And I wanted to support what my brother Patrick said, Patrick Atankurugu, that how you brand yourself online is critically important. There's a friend of mine who wanted an apartment, and I was looking for the apartment for this lady, and I talked to the landlady about her. I actually said that my friend wanted an apartment, and she asked of the lady's name, and I gave the lady's name to the landlady. So the first thing the landlady did was to go on Facebook to look at the personality of my friend before accepting or not accepting to give her the accommodation. And so she went there and saw that the person was a religious person, and she, the landlady herself, was also a religious person. So she got back to me and said, "Oh, your friend is a nice person. I've seen her profile on Facebook, and I think I like her." So assuming that, you know, she was posting things that were obnoxious, then it would have been, you know, an opportunity for the landlady to reject her. So how we project ourselves online is really very important. And I always feel, you know, sad that some people are so addicted to social media that they are not even using it for, you know, something profitable. Someone will wake up in the morning and, you know, post on WhatsApp or Facebook or Instagram. I woke up, I'm taking, you know, breakfast. This is the type of breakfast I'm taking. Meanwhile, all those clicks you are making, you are enriching someone, and you are impoverishing yourself because you have to buy the data to go online to do that, to enrich somebody. You have to spend your time, instead of using that productively to do something to improve yourself, you are using that time on social media. Some people can be on Facebook for 1 hour, and do you know how much that 1 hour is worth? You know, so I think that when we are using social media, we should use it productively. A lot of us are very talented that we can use it to promote our talent, or maybe you are selling something that you want to promote it on social media. That would be a great platform. There is a rise of side hustles that, you know, a lot of people, they are working full-time, but they also have their side hustle. That would be an opportunity for you to, you know, showcase whether it's a talent or whether it's a product that you are selling on social media, and not to just be making, you know, comments that will not yield anything, and also can even be injurious to your professional life, or, you know, whatever you want to do in future, it can come back to harm you. So I think that this is a platform that we are all learning some of these things. Now, I have a question to the panelists, and the question is around cookies. I don't know what exactly cookies are, but sometimes you open, you know, a page and they will ask you to accept or not to accept. In some places, you can, you know, refuse. Some places, there is no refuse option. Then you just have to click or to close. And if you don't want to, you know, click, then you don't get access to what you want to do. What exactly are cookies, and are they something that we should be aware of or not? That's the first question. The second question has to do with passwords. The idea of password is something that boggles my mind. We, you know, use passwords to be able to access so many things. Who really has access to our passwords, or our password controlled by these tech companies? For example, if you are creating a Google account, would Google see your passwords at any point or not, even if it is encrypted, as in the case of WhatsApp Signal? That's the first. The second question. And the third question is relative to the password. I understand there's a tool called the last key, or something like that, that you can save all your passwords in that one. It's like a safe. So how safe is that? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Doc. And after this response to these questions, we will be bringing the session to a close. But before we close, after the question, it looks like this has been a men club, which I usually don't like. So we don't have, all our ladies hasn't said anything or asked a question. So after this, I'm going to plead on the ladies, even if you don't have anything to say, unmute your mic and then introduce yourself before I take the final remarks from our first female president of Ghana, now or to be, and then we'll bring the session to a close. So, okay, over to you, Joseph and Ayebila.
Okay, so I'll take a shot at it first, then Joseph can come. So on the issue of cookies, so cookies, like Doc mentioned, so sometimes you see them and they're asking you to accept or decline. Some of them you really don't have an option but to click accept. Some of them they give you a chance to manage them, so you can go in there and select which of them you want to accept and which of them you don't want to accept. there's no point accepting them if you can decline them, because whichever way at all, the benefit they give to you is not as much as the website owners get. And cookies are basically little snippet of information that they put on your device, so that when you are visiting their site, it makes it easier. So information that can identify you or make your next visit better. So something is is stored on your browser. So when you are visiting that site again, they know that it's you visiting, and your experience can be better in any way. So basically, like them collecting data that will help make your next visit smooth or better in any way. So that's the best I can say about cookies. And so some of them that you don't necessarily have a chance to decline, you can go in there, you see somewhere that manage cookies. So if you see the manage cookies part, you can click on it, go in there, and then reject all third-party cookies. So that it means that what that particular service or website you are visiting requires, like something necessary or something really important that they have to collect, you can accept only those ones. And third-party ones that they are putting there, for the sake of targeting you for marketing and other things, you don't have to accept those ones in any way. Doc, have I answered your question? Okay.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, Joseph, you want to come in?
I think Bila has dealt with the cookies question completely well. So I would move on to the next question. And that question was about who have access to our password on Google, right? I didn't get that question well.
Is when you are typing your password on Google, or when you are putting in a password, does Google see the password you are putting?
Yeah, definitely they do. And that is why when you miss out on your password and you request password, what's the name, to change your password, they would send you an option to do that. Now, technology has also evolved, and some of these things, it gets like they can set up an AI to be doing all the stuff, yet they still have the information. We have what we call the back end and the front end. So you log in with your details, but they have a database about you. That is what we call the back end. So every database about the user, every one of us as a user of Google has a database with Google. So that is together. And the database contains your personal details, including your password. And as to who sees our password, yes, it's between you and Google. I think Google explained it earlier that if someone has access to your laptop, the person would also be able to see your password if he knows how to search for the password on your laptop, just by going to your settings. Now, the danger is that in case Google is compromised, maybe let's say it's attacked or being scammed, then or hacked, it means that you or all of us are in danger because they can get access to the database that Google has about us. And that is where the danger lies. So if it is possible, you can keep your password in your mind, or maybe write it down somewhere without necessarily saving it on the browser. It's fine.
All right. And I think Mr. Kumi also added that passwords are encrypted. So even though Google can see them on their server, they cannot see them in plain text. They will be in terms of the Google server, there might be some characters or features, but you will not see that your password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with whatever the password might be. Thank you so much for that response. And as I said, this has been a very long session than anticipated. In fact, it took 2 hours. Wow, we actually planned for 1 hour, but thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. Our females didn't say anything. It's an opportunity for you to unmute yourself and then introduce yourself. So I'll start with Philippa. After Philippa, I'll come to Gifty. And after Gifty, who is next? 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 Okay, then Comfort. And after Comfort, I have Josephine too. And yeah, I think that's it. And then our First Lady, Esther Emanuela Spio, would close the session for us. Thank you. Philippa, are you here? Unmute and talk. Introduce yourself. Gift, you unmute yourself.
Good evening to everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. My name is Philippa Lado Ambila. I'm a undergraduate, University of Panama and Technology. Thank you.
What are you studying at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology?
Business administration, marketing.
All right, thank you. You didn't get any better school like you has to go. You went to KUST. Go. All right, Gifty, you are next.
All right, good evening. Please,
Yes, good evening.
A student at ATU. I'm offering hotel catering institutional management. Thank you for the information you have given to us. We really learned a lot. We are looking forward for the next meeting. Thank you.
All right, thank you. But next time, go to a better school like you has. Don't go to ATU or whatever. It's not
Which one is ATU?
Accra Technical University. Next time, go to UHAS, okay? Don't go to any baller school. Comfort, are you online? Josephine, please unmute and introduce yourself.
Yes, good evening. Please, I'm Josephine Ayongo. I'm a student of Knaxford University, offering a BSc Information Technology.
A silent computer wizard hiding. We didn't know. Thank you for introducing yourself. We don't have IT, so we'll pardon you for that. Which better school? UHAS is the better school now. Comfort. All right, it looks like Comfort is not active. So now we're bringing the meeting to a close. I'm going to stop.